Hello everyone, this is TobeTada with another video of crypto trading. Thanks for checking by and let's dive right in. So I want to tackle the topic of why we shouldn't panic when there's a drop like this in the crypto market, and we have a lot of people saying now the crypto market crashing again and everything, and I want to share with you my view on this and the reasoning behind why I think this is not the case. And of course, if we look at the long-term perspective, we see that after 2018, the bear market for, I'm looking at Bitcoin here because this is the crypto coin with the largest market share, and we basically had a decline until December 2018. So one whole year where the price dropped very considerably, 80, 83, 84%. However, since then, we had this very steep increase again. So we had a price gain of 340%. After such a price gain, it is to be expected, and indeed there should be a correction occurring. And as we can see, this correction has been taking place since June of this year, and we've had a correction of 46%. Before this last drop, it was about 42, 41%, and this is completely expected. And we went into this by looking at the Fibonacci ratios here, which are very important for analyzing corrections. And we figured out that basically Bitcoin follows a pattern in which the corrections tend to go back to this 0.618 ratio here. So if we look at the longer perspective here, we can basically say that the correction from December 2017 to down here was also within this 0.618 ratio here. And if you look at it for this current cycle here, we can see exactly we're within this ratio here. In fact, we made this prediction in September when the price was still up here at 10,000, and only by looking at these ratios here, we made the prediction the price will probably be around $7,800. And this is exactly what occurred, and we shouldn't be too alarmed if the price deviates a little bit from here. So for example, 5%, that's not really a lot. And the other method of predicting prices or seeing how the markets could evolve is to look at fractals of trading pairs. So for example, here we had, in my opinion, fairly obvious repetition of this peak here. If we look at that, this is very, very similar to what we saw here. We basically saw this peak here and a decline, and then another very large drop. And this is exactly what we saw here, another large drop here. And if you begin to see these patterns, recurring patterns, it gets a lot easier to predict prices. And of course, these are always probabilities, so we can't really say for sure, but this is in general very helpful. And so for the current correction here, I argued also that we might see a repetition of this drop here. So what I mean by that is that if we look at this, we had a first drop down here, correction, and another drop. And this is in line with the which often occurs as an ABC correction here, which I'm not labeling at it as that yet, but we basically have these 1, 2, 3 waves here. And I argue that we probably would see something similar. Now this, as you can see, turn out a little bit differently, but the basic pattern still holds actually. We had this drop, correction, and then again a drop. I thought it would perhaps be a little bit more compressed, being something like that, but it turned out to be something like that. So I think this is still a good confirmation of this repetition of this fractal we saw last year. And indeed, I'm expecting that we're basically right here or right here in this fractal here. And so that means we will very likely, as you can also see with the support level here, which is coming from the 7,300, 400 mark here, and we have the next support coming from the 7,000. So I'm fully expecting the price will hold here or at the 7,000 level here. The price won't go lower than that. That's of course something you should never say as strong as this, but I'm very convinced the price will stabilize here. And after that, of course, the price should again increase. Because if we look at the long-term perspective, we're basically in this phase here where we're seeing a steep increase in price. And of course, we have these correction phases here. And as we've analyzed, these often follow this 0.618 ratio here. So this is actually nothing to worry about here. I would worry if this would go below the 0.5 ratio here. So something around if we enter the $6,000 range. But my prediction is that this won't happen. Now if we make a quick comparison to STEEM and the Bitcoin trading pair, this also looks fairly positive in my opinion, because of course we had this very steep drop in value for STEEM against Bitcoin. But if we look at the last months, I guess, from August 2019 to here, we can see the price has stabilized. We haven't really reached any lower levels, and that's a very significant development, because that probably indicates to me that we have a price range which is very stable and will hold. And in fact, if we have a closer look, we can see that the price has not only stabilized, but we've actually since September gained, or STEEM has gained in value compared to Bitcoin. And although it might not look much, we still have that 12 to 13% growth. So that's not too bad actually. And of course, if this continues, or for this development to continue, we have to, or not we, but I guess this trading pair should follow the support line here. So that's also something to watch. If the price indeed falls below this support line here, then again we could see lower prices. But I think this is fairly stable, and you can see this large drop in Bitcoin again, and also STEEM. Compared to Bitcoin and STEEM, the trading pair, this actually has not been too bad for STEEM holders in that case. So I think this is perhaps a bit of a different view on how the markets are working and unfolding. And if you like my analysis, leave me a comment. Thanks. Bye.